I'm Paige.
I'm Frankie.
And this is the Creative as a Mother podcast.
Bringing the shit show to you.
Hi, this is our Badass Mom series where we are bringing you other creative moms who are juggling motherhood, their own business, and the collision of the two. We're kicking off this series this week with Maggie Rechkemmer, a family photographer from Moline, Illinois. We hope you're as pumped to hear from her as we are.
Well, thanks for dealing with we have no clue what we're doing yet.
Yeah. No, you're yes.
Here for it. I'm happy to be here.
Yes, you are our first. We're very
first.
excited about it.
Me too.
All right.
Well, I guess we can just start. Go ahead and introduce yourself. Tell everyone who you are and a little bit about yourself.
Okay, I'm Maggie Rechkemmer. I'm based out of Moline, Illinois. I'm in part of the Quad Cities. It's on the border of Iowa and Illinois. The Mississippi River divides our cities. It's just right under maybe 500,000 people. So it's a big area, but it feels small.
Yeah.
I've been a photographer since 2015. So about 8 years. I was an occupational therapist before working full-time and doing photography on the side. And then when we had our first son, Abe, we decided I was going to stay home. And that's kind of when I took my photography business full-time, when he was about 6 months old. So that's how I kind of got started. My husband, he's a firefighter on a government installation here. So our schedule is wild. So he's gone 2 days completely, and then he's home for 2 days. And a lot of those 2 days, he's actually quite tired. So it's kind of navigating oh, you're home, but really you need to go to bed. So
right. Yeah.
it's wild. And then we have 2 kids. Abe just turned 7. He is so sweet. He loves Legos and riding his bike. And he's the sweetest little boy ever. And then Ezra, she is going to be 5 in December. Little girl.
I love that for a girl. Ezra, that's really cute.
Her middle name's Jody, so we call her Ezra Joe or Ezzy Joe.
That's really cute. Yeah.
She is 100% sweet or 100% spicy. There's no in between. It is the best day ever, or this is the worst day of my life.
Yeah. Know how that goes.
She's huge dimples. She wins everyone over. She's just a little joyful thing. So she's into, trolls right now. So it will be on my Spotify top plays. Stop the Feeling, JT.
It's a good one.
Can't wait for that. I've already had that happen before, so here we go again. And we just love being together as a family. So we spend a ton of time together. We fixed up our 1914 house. We have a huge yard and play in the woods. We have a German Shepherd, and he's full of fur and fun. So it's a crazy life, but it's wonderful.
We were just talking about pets and all the hair and smells.
Do you guys have dogs?
I have 2 dogs and we have a kitten. My oldest dog, they're both Shepherd mixes. My cat's totally gonna knock down. Yep.
Right on.
Menace. Yep. So I have 2 Shepherd mixes. And our oldest, she's almost 10, and she's just always had a really weak bladder, but she's just peeing in the kids' room, of course. So that's what I just got these. Yeah, it's really fun. So we were just talking about these new scent things to make the house smell nice, because I'm my house smells like dog piss right now, and it's stressing me out. So yeah. And you got a crew.
I have a crew. We have 3 dogs.
Okay.
We have an 11-year-old Jack Russell, and she also is a house peer. So we we're lamenting over that this morning. She's she was my first dog after we after I moved out of my parents' house. And if I would have known anything about Jack Russell's personalities, she would have stayed at the shelter, because she's just I love her, but she's also the worst. And then we have a 9-year-old Vizsla mix, and he is the best dog ever. And then last summer, my husband came home from work one day and just rolled in the front door with a tiny little puppy tucked under his arm without any consultation from me at all. And she is a year old, and she's absolutely insane.
She's so cute though.
What kind of dog is it?
She's a pit, and she very specifically is a blue nose pit. which is the only reason why she came home, because my husband was like, I've always wanted a blue nose pit. And like,
They're so pretty.
she was there. Like I couldn't leave her there. And I'm like, okay, but we already have like a ton of kids and we have chickens and now we have another dog.
Why not?
It's
Why
a
not?
zoo.
What's
Totally.
one more? What's one more?
Exactly. That's how I
Yeah.
feel about this child.
What's one more kid?
Another baby. Oh, yeah.
Oh, love it.
Uh,
Great.
okay. Get rid of this
Get rid of
cat.
the
Oh
cat.
my God.
Just throw it down.
He's wild.
Oh my goodness, I lost my thing. Hold on. I need the internet. I need the camera. Okay, so you were an occupational therapist before you. Did you work with kids or adults?
So I did clinicals in all my clinicals in Chicago, because Chicago's only like 2.5 hours from this area. So I did actually work at Shriners for like my clinicals. And then I worked at a huge rehab institute with spinal cord injury. And then I worked in a nursing home for a few years. And then I worked with like for hand therapy with hand patients. So quite a variety. I actually did some clinicals with kids. And number one, it's really hard because like there's so much that goes into it, the parents, and like it's just really hard on your heart with all these sweet kids.
Yeah.
And you also have to like turn everything into a game and make it playful, which is like really fun for like a few days, but it's exhausting. Like pediatric therapists, they're amazing. And I'm like, you guys got all the energy. I'm so happy for you. I'm like, I couldn't be a pediatric therapist and then come home and also have the energy for my own children. I'm like, this was fun. Maybe not for me.
Yeah, that's a lot.
My 6-year-old, she's almost 7. She's an OT, and her therapist is like, she's so bubbly, so happy all the time, and like she's like rapid firing me these like things we can do at home, and I love her. Like I love her so much, but I'm like, Megan, that's a lot of energy. Don't have that.
Exactly. You're like, oh my gosh, you got to have a lot of coffee in those veins.
Yeah.
Yes. Okay, so how did you decide to make the transition from like completely leaving what you were doing to emerging?
So it's kind of wild because I actually, when we got pregnant with Abe, my husband and I sat down and talked about, okay, well, if I work these many days and you work these days and we only need daycare these many days, and we're figuring out all these things to like be as home with Abe as much as we could. And I actually probably like a couple months before he was born, I announced like, hey, I'm closing my photography business. Like I can't be an OT job 40, 50 hours a week and then also think I'm going to go shoot and then I'm going to have time to be with my family. So I closed business. I had like a few things, but you're just kind of like, hey, I'm done taking bookings, blah, blah, blah. We get to like, 11 weeks post when I'm like a week about to go back to work. And we go and check out the daycare. And my husband tells the story so much better. He's like holding the carrier, looking at Abe and just looking around at the daycare. And the daycare was fine. There was nothing wrong with this daycare. And I'm like asking all the questions. He doesn't say a single word. Like, and I'm like, what is wrong with you? Like, are you going to ask anything? Like, we just want to like feel comfortable because we had seen it. We want to go with him. We walk out to the car and he just like breaks down bawling. Please don't go to work. Please just stay home with Abe. Will you stay home with Abe? And I just was like, okay, like, no big deal. Okay, we'll figure it out. Let's just drop our income in half.
Yeah.
Let's completely uproot everything. And we just said, okay, let's do it. Being an OT was fine, but I wasn't like in love with being an OT. Like I was good at it. I liked people. I enjoyed my coworkers. I liked my job, but I also wasn't like heartbroken not to go back to it. So I called my boss and I said, hey, could I work like a couple days a week? He's like, you can't carry a caseload 2 days a week. I'm like, okay, well then I will not be working there anymore. And I'm really sorry for all my patients scheduled next week. And so we went through our whole budget and we cut as much as we possibly could. We weren't even talking about photography as an income at that point. We just thought, we're going to make it work so I can stay home with Abe. So then probably like 5 to 6 months later, once I was like, okay, like I'm a pro at a mom. No,
right.
I thought, okay, I know how to take care of Abe, this baby. I said, okay, I'm going to open business again. And then it just grew from there. And it's been awesome. It's been awesome.
I love that. I love that so much. So my husband and I have like the absolute messiest love story. but it's a mess. I started when we like separated after my second was born, and we were like not together, and it was kind of the same thing. Like, I don't want to go back to work. I had worked retail before. I'm like, those are not hours that I can manage also being a mom. And that is when I started. And it was always something that I had like liked to do, but it wasn't anything that, like, I don't know, we're millennials. We grew up with parents who are like, you have to go to college and do all of this, and art stuff is not going to pay your bills. So it was never something I thought that I could do. And then that's when I started doing it. And then we opened, my husband and I own an auto repair, and we opened that in the middle of the pandemic. And it was also the same thing. Like, my husband was like, I quit my job today and I'm going to work out of the garage for the rest of the summer. I'm like, okay. And then we found a building, and it just like everything fell into place. But like, I don't know, I feel so passionately, like when you have no other option, that's when like the best things can like happen and
For
like
sure.
succeed for you, because you don't have like, it's like do or die.
Yeah. It like gives you that drive.
Yeah. I don't know. So I love the story. So I love that was like part of your thing.
Yeah, that's awesome for you too. And I feel like I was thinking about this, I don't know why, while I was grabbing my coffee, running late to this podcast. I was just thinking about like my husband and I, how like, obviously a lot of people like in our generation were raised like, you need to graduate from high school, you need to go to college, you need to get a job. And then you never leave that job. You work that job 35 years and then you retire. And I'm like, that was ingrained in my brain. And then my husband, and he didn't think any of that, right? Like, he doesn't have a college degree, but he's a fire captain and he's doing great at his job. He loves his job and he's so happy and all these things. So like, I would have probably never quit if you would have been like, just quit, it's fine. I'm like, okay. Like, if you say it must be okay. And just like you said, once you're put in a situation where you like have to figure it out, like you do.
Yeah.
I agree. That's so cool.
Frankie's husband's a carpenter, and I keep trying to push them into opening their own business too, because
we would love to.
People like to buy handmade like stuff.
See, but he has the mentality that like no one wants to pay for it.
But they do, especially right now.
They do.
I know.
They do.
I know. I need to push them on it.
Get them going.
Our dream has been, so I was supposed to go to school. My dream was to go to school for fashion, and then I didn't want to leave the state. I wanted to go to California, but didn't. And then I visited New York, and I loved it, but I was like, I could never see myself there. Yeah. And then I was like, actually, I'm going to do interior design. And then, because I was like, I love like decorating homes or whatever. And my first class was all math. And I was like, all right, no. So I dropped all my classes. I was like, we're not doing that. That's not going to work out. And I was doing photography just for fun. And I had like some people like want to do their senior photos or whatever. And I was like, okay. And then I started eventually getting more people like wanting to pay me for it. And it felt really weird. But then I was like, I'll take some photography classes. And I didn't learn anything in photography classes. Like it was all, like Photoshop and, I mean, there's like a dark room, which was cool, but I already like taught myself everything really. So, but that like finally I got the push. I was like, okay, I can do this. And luckily my mom is very artsy. So she was like very open to like, you want to do art, but still like you have to get a degree kind of thing, which I definitely didn't need a degree for this, but but here we are.
Here you are. Now you have.
Yeah.
Oh,
okay.
Cool.
So everything about your story so far has been heavily focused on like being present with your family. And hold on.
This freaking cat. I might have to go lock him up.
I love it. Every time it moves, I'm like, just keep that.
Do you feel like you have like a community of moms that help like balance you and keep you in check and remind you of like what is, I don't know, it's so hard. Like, I don't know how to word this.
Yes.
Well,
it's yes. If that helps you. Yes. I feel like, first of all, I'm like very social. Obviously, like you guys are really social. So I feel like it's so easy for me to have found people. And like, once I find my people, I'm like, oh, good, I got my people.
Mm-hmm.
I was really lucky. Like when I was first starting business, even before kids, you guys heard of like Rising Tide Society, Natalie Frank. It's like,
That's really
It
familiar.
does sound
she
familiar.
started this thing where you like make all these little pod communities. This is years and years ago. And then creatives all get together. It doesn't have to be photographers, but it was a lot of photographers. But I met two of my closest graphic design friends and a photographer that's here in town through that group. And
Oh,
I'm still
cool.
like very close friends with him. And that would have been probably like 7 or 8 years ago.
That's
Okay.
awesome.
So luckily, I've been really lucky that I've had those two graphic designer friends and my other photographer friend that I'm really close with here. And I could not talk to them for months and then need something and they would help. So it's
Yeah.
nice. They all understand that like their family lives like me, like their family comes first, but they also have this business and navigating all that. And then I've made like a few really good photographer friends just like on social media.
Hmm.
And they've been amazing. So we Marco Polo like every day or every few days, and we've met in person and our families have met. We just love each other. So
Yeah.
it's so great to find those like-minded people because I have mentored so many photographers and it like breaks my heart when they're like, I just have nobody. Like, and that's the hardest thing. Like you guys know the hardest thing is at home. Your kids are running wild. You're trying to like do everything. And you're like, I can do nothing right now.
Yeah.
And you just need someone else that understands. And husbands are busy at work. They don't have time to like listen to you
Right.
vent about how hard your day is. So Marco Polo has been like a godsend because we all know you can't talk on the phone.
Who wants to?
There's
Yes.
always something they need right away. And then you're like attending to them and you're like, I gotta go.
Mhm.
So Marco Polo has been really good. Voice messages, even texting has been good. Just like have that community. So
Yeah.
yeah. That answered the question. I think that was more than the answer.
I like it. It was good.
Whether it was or not, we like the direction it was
We got
going.
there.
That's half the time in therapy too. This happens to me all the time. She'll like ask me something and I'll be like going on. I'm like, I don't know where I was going with that. And if that answers your question, like where we were going, but she's like, no, it's fine. We're good. It's a mom brain. I feel like it's just,
Yeah.
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 yes.
Oh my gosh.
No, but that's been, so Paige was the one that actually started Creative as a Mother. And I attended, it was your first one, right?
Very, very first.
She had like a get together with like a bunch of mom photographers just to kind of like to feel like we had that community and like share stories and just relate to other people. And that was the first time that it like finally clicked for me and like that I felt, I think I probably texted you after. It was like that felt like
Yes, you
therapy for
did.
me.
Well,
And
I
it just
also-
like
I
felt
think-
like
I don't know. We had like this draw to each other, and I think I looked at you before you left, and I was like, "Here's my phone number, and you better text me. Like,
Yeah.
I'll hunt you down."
and here we are. But it was just like your passion for this community was something I was looking for so bad because like I had other photographer friends, but it's so different once you're a parent. Like your work-life balance looks so different. Like we talk about, we can't just go to the coffee shop in the middle of the day and edit. We would love to, but like that's not how life works for us. Like we're editing at 11 p.m. at night when everyone's sleeping. So to like have people that you can relate to and talk to at that time if you need it is life-changing.
It is.
Well, I think it's an amazing idea. And I think it's really cool. And as soon as you reach out to me, I'm like, this is awesome. Because I feel like so many photographer moms maybe talk about it, maybe like on social media or something, but then there's not like that they talk about it, but then like, when what do you do? So
There's
I
like a
think
disconnect.
Correct. Yeah. So I think this is amazing. Seriously.
And like I'm sure this is it everywhere, but we're in Detroit, and I feel like our industry is so dominated by like the wedding industry
Mhm.
and like family photographers are like, I don't know, they're like fluffed on the outskirts.
Yeah.
And it's hard. So well, she shoots weddings and she started as weddings. I've never done
Yeah.
weddings. I've only ever done families. And so it's hard to like get in there when you're already not shooting what they're shooting, but then also like I don't know, they're all young and like have all this free time. And like some of my very best local friends don't have kids,
Mhm.
but they're also like very much like meet you where you're at people.
Yeah.
And they love my kids and they're really great and wonderful, but it's also like, okay, cool. You guys are like one of our friends, her name's Cassie. She's having a girls' night next Tuesday. And I'm like, I want to come, but I'll be at gymnastics.
Right.
Yeah.
Life just looks a little different.
Yeah.
It does. It
Yeah.
definitely does.
Oh my goodness. Okay, talk to us about balance. How are you balancing, especially with your husband's work schedule and doing the most? How are you balancing everything?
I feel like balance is such a funny word, right?
It is.
Because it's not really a balance. I think it's kind of just like prioritizing what you need to do.
Yeah.
So before fall season, when I'm living the dream in summer and sleeping in until yes. If someone's listening to they're not a mom, they're like 7 o'clock is not sleeping in.
We just talked about this.
It is.
Like my kids slept until 7:30 today, so I know.
You look so refreshed.
Oh, the makeup.
So I feel like, and I was talking about this with a photographer last week, it's so crazy because like, I don't think you ever fully find balance, right? I think it's just prioritizing and being comfortable in that, like, there's always going to be something to get done, especially when my kids were really little and home with me all the time. That did look like me editing during nap times and after they were asleep. And now I have a kid in first grade and I have a little girl that's in pre-K. So like right now they're both at school. So that changes a little bit.
Yeah.
We had babysitters. So a lot of times during the summer, I'd be like, okay, I'd plan out my week. Like I need to get this session edited this week. So I'm going to try to find a sitter to come watch the kids for a few hours while Alex is at work, because my husband and I found out that I couldn't rely that he was going to come home and I was going to hide away in the office for a few hours working, because he'd get home and he'd be exhausted. And I'm like, well,
Yeah.
I don't want you exhausted all morning. I'd rather you go sleep and then I will still be with the kids. And then when you wake up, and it's hard too, because when he's home, we just all want to be together.
Right.
So I really try to work the times when I am by myself. So when the kids are like tonight, like my husband's working, the kids are sleeping, I will work tonight with some trash TV on in the background for my for fun.
Yeah.
I also like am like a huge list maker. Crossing an item off of the to-do list is the best. And so I just have little notes, and like I know like tomorrow, like on my list, I literally write workout, guys. That's my motivation. I will work out.
I need to
So
do that.
so like before I go to bed the night before, I like dump the things I need to do the next day. And that kind of helps me focus, like just focus on the next day. And then I kind of have like my big running list of other things I need to do. I also like schedule stuff in our calendar, like the pumpkin patch and stuff like that, because I think so many photographers, everyone loves fall, right? You guys have a beautiful fall in Detroit, probably too.
Yes. Yeah.
And so this is the most beautiful time of the year to be outside. I love Halloween. I love the weather. I love everything, and Christmas, but I don't want to overbook myself to where I'm like, I don't even have time with my family in like my favorite months of the year.
Yep.
So when I'm releasing my schedule for the fall, I put in all the dates that I'm going to be able to work and how much I want to work. And then then people can book that way. And it's so easy to send them the stuff. So I think that gives me balance. My year for the year was boundaries. So I've been really good at that, being like, no, I cannot do that for you. You know, people expect that. So saying no is really powerful. I think that's about it.
That's something, well, the way you do your scheduling sounds very similar to what Paige does, which I need to start doing. But that is something we talked about, like, because fall is obviously amazing here and our favorite time of the year, but also the busiest time in photography. Everyone wants fall photos. So this year was like the first year that I finally like put my foot down and was like, okay, the weekends I have open, I am leaving them open. I want to be with my family. I don't want, just because all these people are reaching out last minute and want fall photos, like I need to put my family first. And it's hard to get yourself to that point. I feel like for a lot of people to, you know, we were talking about like the hustle, everyone wants to hustle or whatever, and we're not into that anymore.
Correct. Same.
But it's hard to like navigate that and like transfer to not overbook yourself and just enjoy your downtime. And did you ever have a hard time, like, or have you always been from the beginning like setting up those boundaries? And
no, you could not. And I don't even want to say that like clients walked all over me, because they didn't. They were just they asked and I said yes. So I think that like at one point, especially like last year and now this year, I just have to take ownership and be like, no, like I can say yes or no. And it's a business. Sometimes in my head, I'm like, it's business, it's not personal. So like this year, I don't shoot weekends unless it's like a trade maybe I'm doing, or it's my family or close friends. Those are the only people who get weekends because
Mhm.
it doesn't feel stressful, right? I'm just like meeting up with my friends and taking their photos. Other than that, I really don't shoot weekends. So if people ask like, hey, do you have this weekend available? I'll just be like, I don't even say no. I go, this is what I have available. Because I think sometimes we get in our head that we have to be working all the time, and that's
Yeah.
crazy. Like I didn't
Yes.
leave a job to work all weekends all the time. So
Right.
I think I have like Christmas minis a weekend and that's about it.
Yeah.
But no, I definitely used to say yes to all the things. And now I'm like, no, because I'm happier and like my family life's healthier with that extra time.
Yeah.
So I was
Well-
not always good at it.
I
Definitely not.
feel like some people are, so you never know.
That's true. That's so true.
I definitely was not.
No.
I was definitely like, yeah, you know what? I'm super busy already, but sure, let's do it.
Sure, I'll squeeze you in.
Yeah. I'll stress myself out.
I think we talked about this last week, that last year was the first year that I really put like hard boundaries on my schedule. And I open my schedule in January. They book the month that they want. And then it's just the month though. We're not picking dates. They don't pick dates until the first of the month before the month that they booked. That way I can like plan my family schedule for that month.
That's
And,
awesome. It's a great idea.
Well, last fall, it also like forces people to like spread out throughout the year, because if like October and September are booked, sorry, go somewhere else. Like
Yeah.
May's open, August has room, like spread yourselves out. So
Yeah.
that works nice. But last fall was the first fall that I had done that, and I was like sitting there and like seeing all these people like post like their long editing lists and like all of these things. I'm like, oh, I could have done more. But I asked, like I did this on purpose. It was intentional.
Yeah.
But it's like, I don't know, it's a weird discomfort to sit in that, like, I don't know.
Yeah. Yeah.
But it's weird. It's weird.
Yes.
Because like even yesterday I catch myself sending an email and they're like, oh my gosh, I'm sorry. They're like, I know you're probably full, but by any chance, and I just opened a few more dates because I'm like, meh, I got time. It'll be fine.
Right.
And I was like, no, I have more dates. And I was so tempted to be like, but if you need a different date, just let me know. And I'm like, no, I
No.
believe you. Like, thank you, let me know. And just send it, you know? It's hard, like the people pleaser in you, and you like want to
Yeah.
help them and take their photos. But I'm like, no, Maggie, just send the dates and move on and go to bed, you know?
Yep.
It's so hard. It's something about this industry too, though, like how all photographers feel that way and just feel like we have to be like, okay, yeah, we'll squeeze you in here, or like instead of just sticking to our boundaries and like,
It's all of our own faults, because we're perpetuating this like
Yeah.
culture of bending over backwards for everyone.
right. Yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
It stops here.
Yes.
Seriously.
Today.
Take it back.
Today.
Oh my god. Yes.
Oh my gosh, so funny.
You are so incredibly documentary, and we love it. And
We do.
we were talking about this the other day. I feel like we were always talking about everything, but about how like well, I feel like we're finally starting to see a little bit of a shift away from it, but the millennial like trend and like culture is these like perfect Pinterest images and like these wonderful things. And I think that we're doing ourselves like such a disservice, and in like 20 years we're going to be mad at like our current selves for like having images of our family the way that we have them, because we're
Mhm.
not actually like, they're beautiful images, but they're also not like giving us anything.
You're not documenting like
No, like
who your family really
right
is.
on the drive over, even I was thinking about our very first family photos when my son was like just over a year, and we were pregnant with my second, and like they're beautiful images, but like I get none of his personality at that
Right.
at that time frame, like doesn't give me anything. And I just lost my train of thought. I don't know where I was going with that. I do. Sorry.
It was good. You were doing really good. I love
On a roll.
Oh my gosh. Okay, so you are super documentary, and we are trying so hard to shift that with family photographers here. Because it is so heavily like perfectly curated Pinterest. Like it's
Mhm.
like so much of the domination. And have you always gravitated towards that like style of shooting, or was there a shift for you, or tell us about that?
I mean, we were just talking about how we're all people pleasers here in the photography industry. So, like, when I started, I definitely, it was probably more called like a lifestyle, right? Like 8 years ago. I knew I liked that, but everything was portrait-y. So like I was taking portraits, but I was also taking those other ones. I knew as soon as I started, I'm like, I don't want to be taking pictures of everyone smiling at me. I followed a few photographers that were still, like we kind of say the Pinteresty perfect, but they weren't everyone looking. It was really, really hard starting to be like, don't look at me.
Right.
Don't look at me, and still people do it. It's a habit. It's okay. But I just feel like from the beginning, I didn't want that. And I also, you guys live in probably similar terrain as me. I don't have a beach. I don't have mountains. I don't have elevation. We have cornfields and we have a river. So right away, I'm like, you're drooling as a new photographer, like, oh, the mountains, oh, the beach, oh, the whatever. And I was like, oh, the siren's going to be so loud. We live on a busy street. Do you hear them?
No.
Oh, guys, I'm sorry. This is really digressing, but they rip past our house because they know we live here. Do you hear that? Here they are. They look for our children and then it's ridiculous. It's so fun, but I'm like, okay, sorry. That was really digressing. Okay. So, I just felt like suddenly I was like, okay, I'm trying so hard to be something, number one, that I'm not, something I don't want to shoot. And I don't even have the opportunity. Like, I'm not going to travel to all these places and I'm not going to, nothing here looks like that. So suddenly I was like, you know what? I'm going to make the best of what we got right here in the Midwest. We love it here. People are so nice. Families are wonderful. And so I just started like leaning into focusing on the families and their connection versus all the other stuff, right? Like I still help my clients style, but every year I'm like less and less, like less epic, like epic type clothes, like coordinate, be yourselves, wear stuff from your closet. Let's take photos in your living room. Like I just keep leaning more and more into that. In 10 years, like I want you to remember the special things about your kids at this age versus their perfect little outfit on a mountain or whatever. And I love those photographers and they do a beautiful job. I'm not knocking them by any means. Like I still love their photos and drool over their stuff. But for me, I know as a mom, I want something different documented and I want to document something different for my families. So leaning into those things, I ask every family, is there anything special you want to bring to your session? What do you want to remember about your kids? Is there a certain place? Like, did you get engaged somewhere that we can go? That would be cool to take your whole family and talk to your kids about that. They'll think that's cool. Or it's even like, if they're like, well, we really love to eat pizza. We're like, okay, we're bringing a box of pizza.
Yes.
So I think families get stuck on that it needs to be this grand idea and it doesn't. Like, let me make it grand and beautiful and artful.
Right.
For you, you just give me a little snippet of something you guys love and we'll run with it. So, see, once again, I just walked onto something else. I think that answered your question.
You just answered like 3 of my questions, so it was great. No, but yeah, like, I don't know. We both feel so passionately about like, we need to shift, guys. We need to shift or we're all going to regret it.
Yes. Well, and there's definitely like, obviously there's a photographer for everyone too. Like some people love the like perfectly curated photos and everyone's smiling and stuff, but do you feel like it changed for you when you became a mom, that like how you wanted to document families?
I think more so as the industry was also changing, like obviously it was the first one, but I think as I started seeing more of people doing more documentary or real life things, and a lot of people during COVID were doing like day in the life stuff. And I think that probably really encouraged people to be like, oh, we should really be documenting things as they are instead of making them this curated feed of perfection, because that's not real life anyway. Like you're still going to remember all the other stuff.
Yes.
So I just feel like after I had kids, it became more important for that stuff, which is funny because people are like, do you have just like millions of photos of your kids? I'm like, on my iPhone. Right. Because that's what I have on me. So I still document them, but usually on my phone, and I don't take it. I used to take way more pictures of them on my camera, but like, no, I just have my phone on me and I want those in the moment things for my phone.
Yep.
This year I started pretty much exclusively documenting my own family on film because
love it.
I just can't, like, I don't want to take my camera to the zoo. I don't want to take my camera to the beach. I don't want to lug it out. When I do lug it out, they associate it with work. So they're like, seriously, mom. Whereas like if I'm just pulling out like my little film camera or like a disposable, it's not anything big for them. Have I developed any of those? No.
I can't wait to see them.
I have a giant stack of film I need to send in, but yeah, so maybe that I'll take care of that in October and I'll admire my family images from January.
That's why I got that Fuji camera, whatever it is that everyone, freaked out over. I did get that one, but because that was nice to like take to like the zoo or whatever and not feel like it was like a work camera, but like still documenting. I don't always bring it because I forget, but it still gives like a different feel.
Yeah, a different vibe than a cell phone.
Yeah. But yeah, I have like 20,000 photos on my phone probably.
Me too.
And I can't delete any of them.
No, you can't. It's memories.
I know. Oh my God, this cat. Hang on. He's like biting my feet.
Okay, I'm gonna refill my coffee quick.
Yeah.
Is that okay?
Yeah.
It's so good.
I just said I should have made more coffee too. I only had my 1 cup so far.
This was not on our question list, but I'm gonna ask it anyway. How dare I?
Rebel.
So you're talking about embracing what the Midwest has to offer, and we have like the country, we have some good parks, but like I don't know, the more aesthetically pleasing places are so overrun that I hate going to them. We do have a beach, but it's downtown.
Yeah, I mean, we have like small beaches.
Yeah. Two of my best friends live in Texas, and they came up for the Taylor Swift concert and we stayed downtown for 5 days. And so they're used to like ocean beaches, and we're laying like we were all in our own bedrooms at night, the first night, to like rest and go to sleep, and then I got a like group text from them. She's like, "Why are we hearing seagulls?" And it was from Belle Isle at the beach. They're like, didn't expect to hear seagulls like in the city. But so where I know you talked about like special places for your families that like mean something to them, but where else are you drawing inspiration that is not just like our neon greens in the spring and like
you don't like those? I mean, come on.
That's great.
I feel like a lot of times I get this question and people are like, how did you even think of this? I'm like, it's so random. So for example, Abe had a birthday party this last weekend and he got like a pocket kite. So cool. Just like a little pocket kite. We can like throw it in the car. We're running around. We have like no wind at our house because of all the trees. So we looked ridiculous. It was so fun. But we're running with this pocket kite. And I'm like, this would be the cutest family session, right? So I have like a brain dump list and I just put flying kites. And then I'm like, ooh, it'd be good in harsh light. So I just like brain dump ideas.
I like that.
So whenever I think of something, and so then when I have families, which like at least 75% of my families, like when they fill out their little question, they're like, I want to do something creative. I'm like, what am I going to do?
Okay.
I like give them some of my brain dumps, right? And a lot of times it'll either be like, oh yeah, we fly kites, or oh yeah, we love that donut shop, or anything that I've seen. So if I like drive by a location, I'll write it down. If I hear a song and I'm like, ooh, like this reminds me of something, or even in a movie, I'll just like jot it down on my brain dump list. And sometimes like I'll have something that doesn't come to fruition for years. Like no one will want it. Like I'll keep dumping it to people, they don't want it, and suddenly it does. So it's kind of cool to keep a list, or it's good to draw, like if you want to do a model call and you want to get creative.
Yeah.
So a lot of times it's super random. I'm like, oh, that's a good idea. And my husband's always looking at me like, okay, like
those are always the best ones though.
Yeah. And it's so funny. One of my favorite sessions I've done, it was harsh light. It was all harsh light and it was at like a splash pad. And I don't even remember. I remember seeing an image from somebody else, probably in Australia, because I love all the Australian photographers. And it was like a pregnant woman with like maternity photos, and she's in a swimsuit and there was like droplets on her belly. That's all it took. When I'm like, I want to do a maternity session with a mom in a swimsuit and a little kid, but I don't want it to be on the beach. I'm like, a splash pad, that'd be perfect. So then like an idea was born. It was one of my favorite sessions. It was like 25 minutes. I swear it was so short. It was real quick, but I just loved it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I like that a lot. Yeah.
Did that answer the question? What was the
did.
question?
The question
That's why I'm like, I don't know what you asked. So
basically thinking outside the box in the Midwest. How
Yeah.
do you find that your families are like on board with that? Because I feel like that's part of like,
that's our struggle, I feel.
well, even like at a retreat, we posted a retreat in the spring or in the
Summer.
in the summer.
It's okay.
Sometime this year.
And I think that was what a lot of people a lot of the moms that came to our retreat were struggling with too. Like they want to break outside of that like faux, it's not even faux, like it's
You're like
lifestyle, but it's still
like-
very curated. They want to break out of that like curation,
Yeah.
but they don't know how to get like their families on board. And I don't know, I'm just kind of like, you're gonna do this, or let's do this, or I don't know, I'm a little bit more direct, and I guess if you tell me no, that's fine. But I feel like people really struggle with that. Are your clients mostly on board with like doing something weird?
Yeah, they kind of are. And I think too, because I've been doing like stuff that's a little different for so long.
Yeah.
That's all they're seeing a lot of
Yeah.
times. And stuff. So a lot of times people are like, well, how do you know what to share on your social media? I'm like, I love all my families. Even if my family wants to just frolic in a field with a blanket, I still love them and I still love the session. But if you notice, I'm probably going to post my maternity splash pad session 100 times, or all the things that I want to keep creating more. I read something really good on Instagram yesterday, and it was just talking about like Mark Zuckerberg gives us like how long to show our art, right? Like we put it out there once, and what, in 3 weeks, it's not on your grid, it's not on our stories, it's like non-existent. And like, how sad is that when we really think about it? So like repost, and like, I'm terrible. Like if I see a session that I like and a photographer shared it on like 5 Facebook groups, guess what? I have hearted that and probably commented on it every time. Like still love it. So I think we get in our heads that like once we share something, it's out in the world to everyone, but it's really not. We don't see everyone's stuff. So I think it's really important to keep sharing your unique work and like making it the forefront of your business and that sort of thing. And if your clients aren't on board, like my best advice when I've like mentored people is you got to do some model calls to get it there, or it doesn't need to be their whole session, but ask your current clients, be like, hey, at the end of your session, could we just do like 10 or 15 minutes of something kind of off the wall creative I want to really try? A lot of times they're going to say yes. It's extra photos. It's no pressure on you because their session's hopefully complete and you've gotten everything. So once you can start tying it in, then that's the stuff you can really highlight, to your clients and that sort of thing. And I think drawing it out either in a questionnaire and on your website to really show people that like, this is what I want to do. And saying it once isn't enough, right? You got to read stuff like 10 times for it to even like function in your brain. So I think showing them and like writing it and just having it like interweaved through all your branding really helps too.
Yeah. That's a good idea to like throw it at the end of your session. I used to do that because I feel like they get excited too, that they're like, oh, you like want to get creative with me. Like, yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Like, ooh, you want to use me?
Yeah.
Like, yes, I do.
Yeah.
That's a good point though too, about like reiterating it 1,800 times. I think I said that at our retreat and people's brains were like,
yeah,
even though you typed it out to them, you say it again. I'm like, yeah, because they're not reading anything.
You cannot over communicate with your clients. And it's just like not possible. Like 99% of the time, who are we communicating with? The mom. Is the mom busy? Oh, you better believe her mental load is overflowing constantly. Like, help her. I just always want to help the mom so much. Like, yes, I'll help style you. Yes, I'll figure out a spot. I'll do it. You just relax.
Yeah.
And I swear, even if she passes on the communication to dad, he didn't hear it because it came from her. So
right.
Right over. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's very true.
Oh goodness.
Dads.
Bless them.
I love them.
And we'll leave it at that.
I started doing I started very, very intentionally putting no grumpy dads whenever I do model calls. Because the moms are always so eager and then the dads are so like, wishy-washy about
they're
it.
just there.
Yeah. And so I started putting no grumpy dads in when I did a couple model calls this year.
Yeah. I feel like the dads do enjoy sessions better when it is more like how we shoot.
Play with your kids. I don't just don't even worry about me. Just play with your kid.
Yeah.
And I think that, exactly what you said. Like, I feel like I'm really lucky that I really don't get those dads like at all. Like everybody is like down and I'm like, as soon as they get there, And everyone's more relaxed. If I'm like, you don't need to like stare and smile at me, just play in love with your kids for like 45 minutes. And
Right.
and if I need you to do something, I'll just tell you. Otherwise, just have fun. Just have fun. And I think once everybody, like the whole family, not just dads, realize that, they're like, okay, I'm like, just relax. Like
Mhm.
there is no pressure. I will take care of you. So I'm
Yeah.
just like, I don't want to say I'm lucky, but I also agree with you that like when it's chill, it's like, they're fine. They're fine.
Yeah. Everyone's way
I think they're
happier.
bad rap, but I get awesome dads.
Well, aren't you lucky?
I really feel like I only struggle with dads like when I'm specifically model calling
Yeah.
because the moms are so eager to like do it.
Yeah. Well, yeah, because they really don't want to be there for like extra photos that
No.
they
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
weren't planning on doing most of the time.
I accidentally scheduled a session on Sunday during the Lions game,
Mm.
and Dad was so mad.
How
He
could you?
he was a sport about it, and he was very happy, like, and was there, but he was like, "Okay, can we go inside? Can we take some on the couch? Because I really gotta watch the Lions game." So I literally took photos of them on the couch, but he was watching the game behind me, and it was like whatever works.
Hey, you know what? I've turned on Cocomelon in some houses for some kids. It's not any different. I want the
No.
whole family happy of all ages.
Football is Cocomelon for the
Yes.
dads.
For the dads.
That's funny.
Oh.
Would you have any advice for a photographer already in the industry, established, that isn't a mom yet and planning a family or
Like
about to
making
be
the
a mom?
transition.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think my best advice is prepare for change and be open that you're going to be interrupted and life is going to happen. Because I think the
Mhm.
biggest shift is when I could just edit a gallery and there was no interruptions. I think such a big part of being a mom and doing not just work, but anything is there's going to be interruptions. And you just have to remind yourself that like, don't get frustrated because it's so easy to get frustrated.
Yeah.
And we all do it, right? Like you're going to get frustrated at some point. But for me, it's so much better to set times that you're working and that your mom, or if I'm going to answer emails. So perfect example, the other day I sat down and told my kids, guys, we're going to go out and play. I need to answer emails for 10 minutes. We're going to go outside. Do you know how long emails took me with interruptions? 45 minutes.
Sounds about right.
And it was so funny. My son, they kept needing stuff. I was putting on their shoes. Someone needed help putting on a shirt. And they're like, Mom, aren't you done with your emails yet? I'm like,
No, I haven't done that.
Have you seen me on my computer? I'm like, oh, I guess not. I'm like, okay. So I think it's like the idea that you gotta be like, just be open that your day, it's not gonna go as planned.
Yeah.
Almost ever.
Yeah.
But you like also I think if you wake up every day feeling thankful for the time you have, I so often like I've had to start telling my kids, be like, some parents, their job is 9 to 5 and they don't come home until after work. Like I'm so lucky. I get to pick you up from school and drop you off every day and we get all of this time together.
Yeah.
And some people also have jobs they love, but they don't get that flexibility. So sometimes I just have to remind myself like, oh my gosh, like this is a life I dreamed for that I never thought I would have.
Yeah.
I remember pulling up to my OT job as the sun was coming up. I'm like, wish I was shooting. I remember thinking that and being like, but that'll never be me. So you can do it.
Yep.
Injuries with work and play and you'll be fine.
Yeah. Yeah. I like that.
I like that too.
Thanks, friends.
Thank you.
Oh my gosh. Do you have anything else that you feel like you need to share? That you
Yes.
scream
Oh
to the
my
world?
gosh, what should I share? I think so. I think that like just overall, it is an amazing job to have with kids and the family, and the flexibility is just the best thing ever. And you just have to ebb and flow. I've talked so much with other photographers that my life has changed so much from a year ago and 2 years ago because our schedules change. And as long as I keep my family the priority and like making sure I have my time with them, then everything seems to go smooth. So
Yeah.
that's
Oh,
it.
makes me a little teary.
No.
From all those. So I'm not even to be teary right now.
What's my excuse
I
then?
don't know.
Stop.
Oh my goodness. Well, thanks for chatting with
I
us.
know,
I think that's a
this-
wrap.
Thank you guys so much for having me. This was so fun. You guys are gems.
Oh,
Honestly, both of you.
I know. Well, maybe one day.
Yeah.
I'll come visit.
Yes.
right.
Or
Little
we'll
road trip.
stalk you.
Yeah.
Not
We'll come
far, right?
stalk you.
Stalk us. Let's right to the Quad Cities.
No,
You got
we-
your phone out. Put
we'll
in
be-
Moline,
we'll be-
Illinois.
Do you say Illinois or Illinois?
It's Illinois.
Okay. That's what I thought, but now I got confused.
You
Maybe we've been
second-guessed-
saying
I
it
made you
wrong.
second guess yourself.
I did. Oh,
I feel like it's not like
why is mom
Crazy.
so weird. Come on. 6.5 hours.
Oh.
Oh wait, no, 6:17. That's the fastest. Well, it's got tolls, but I'll pay for you. It's fine.
we'll pay the tolls.
Bad. That's
no,
not bad.
Right.
but
I
like,
probably drive through all of Illinois, right? And then go north.
yeah.
I'll look.
But I don't know where I everything is 45 minutes from my house, so I don't know. I'm a road trip girl.
Yeah. Thank you so much for doing
Yes.
this. It was so nice to have you on here.
You guys are so fun and so nice. And I just love like meeting people on Zoom because we've chatted on like the Instagram.
Yeah,
And it's just so fun. You guys are
it
so
is.
fun.
Well,
And I
thanks.
love everything you're doing. I do really think it's really, really awesome. So
Thank you.
I'll
We're
shout, I'll shout you guys from the rooftops.
Oh, thanks.
Thanks for listening again this week. Don't forget to rate us, download, and share with your friends.
Okay, thanks. Bye.
Bye bye.